Becoming an expert at anything, from public speaking to playing an instrument to writing code, requires deliberate practice and hard work, but it doesn't have to take forever. The best way to master any skill, no matter how complex or simple, is through the 10,000-hour rule, in which you spend around 10,000 hours practicing that skill, and then you'll be an expert at it. But what does that look like? How do you actually go about spending all of those hours? Once again, thank you for clicking on this video. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Now let's get to the video. Become an expert at anything, master anything fast. Here's a quick way to learn how to do anything. Imagine for a moment that you are a tourist in Paris, France. You will have 4 days in Paris, but none of your friends or relatives speak French. You need someone who is fluent in both English and French and who can serve as your guide while you visit Paris. So how would you go about finding such a person? Most likely, you would begin by asking your family or friends if they know anyone who speaks both languages well enough to act as your tour guide. Now imagine that instead of looking for just one person with these skills, suppose that you need 10 people, all within 4 days. Identify the skill you want to master. First, think about what you want to master. This could be any old thing, but it's best if you have some sort of reason for doing so, i.e., your life needs improvement in that area. Some broad skill categories are cooking, speaking a language, dancing, or exercising. If you aren't sure where to start, ask yourself what would make your life easier right now. This doesn't necessarily mean easier work-wise. Perhaps there is something keeping you from spending time with friends or family. In that case, learn how to cook. Become an expert in just 3 months by following these 4 steps. 1. Break it down into smaller parts. The first step is to identify exactly what it is you want to master. Don't try to master everything all at once. Focus on one specific aspect first, like mastering recipes or understanding the basic grammar rules of a new language. Once you know exactly what part of a larger subject you want to master, break down each component until they are small enough that they can easily fit into your schedule each day. For example, instead of trying to master all aspects of Japanese culture, decide which parts interest you most and choose those as your focus points for daily study. Practice often. In both controlled and realistic situations. Learning on your own is great, but it's not enough. To really master something, you have to practice. Ideally, practice in both controlled situations that are safe but realistically mimic real-world scenarios, like trying out some softball with just a bat and ball against a brick wall, and realistic situations that put you in stressful or uncomfortable environments, like trying out softball with a bunch of people watching. It's also important to make time for breaks, and not just so you can rest. Giving yourself time between training sessions allows your mind to be more receptive to new information. And don't forget, hard work pays off. Set SMART goals. A SMART goal is clear, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Once you've set up your SMART goals, it's time to work out how you're going to achieve them. Break down each goal into smaller pieces, then write out how you will achieve those smaller goals one step at a time until you reach your overall goal. This process makes sure that nothing slips through the cracks, so you'll be able to master your skill or learn anything in record time. When setting your goals, always make sure they are specific. State exactly what you want to achieve. If you don't know where you're heading, any road will get you there. Dylan Thomas. So be very clear about what exactly it is that you want to do/achieve. Don't say I want to learn French or I want to lose weight, as these are too vague. Instead, say I want to speak French fluently by March 2015, or I want to lose 10 pounds in 2 months. These are specific goals. You can measure them and they give you something specific that you can aim for. Measurable, make sure your goal has some way of being measured so that you can tell when you have achieved it. For example, if your goal is to learn Spanish in 6 months, then how will you know when 6 months have passed? You could say I want to be able to speak basic Spanish by March 2015, but even better would be saying I want to be able to hold a conversation with native speakers about current affairs by March 2015. This gives you something specific that you can measure yourself against. Do I know enough about current affairs? And therefore allows you to evaluate whether or not you have reached your goal. Achievable, you need goals that are achievable, otherwise what's the point? So make sure they are realistic. Something which is completely out of reach isn't going to help motivate you because it's never going to happen. This doesn't mean that your goal has to be easy, just that it has to be possible. It may take some hard work, but if you set yourself up for success, then there's no reason why you can't achieve your goal. Be honest with yourself about whether or not your goal is achievable. Don't set yourself up for failure. If it's not possible, then re-evaluate and change your goal so that it is doable. For example, if your goal was to lose 10 pounds in 2 months, but after a week on a diet, you only lost 1 pound, then maybe losing 10 pounds in 2 months isn't really feasible, so instead try losing 5 pounds in 2 months. Realistic, make sure your goal is realistic. Don't set yourself up for failure by setting unrealistic goals, such as losing 50 pounds in 1 month or learning French fluently within a week. These are simply unrealistic and therefore won't motivate you as much as more achievable goals would. When setting your goal, always ask yourself, is it realistic? If not, then look at ways to make it more attainable. Timely, make sure that you have given yourself enough time to achieve your goal. Otherwise, how will you know when to stop working towards it? Create a strategy for every task. The most effective way to master a skill is by creating your own personal strategy for each specific task. For example, when learning how to play basketball, use free throws as your primary focus. If you can master free throws by practicing consistently, your knowledge of shooting will transfer easily into mid-range shots and then long-range shots. This will allow you to focus less on technique while mastering each specific task. If your focus is consistent, tasks like learning how to dribble or other more complicated skills will seem easier than expected. The key is finding something challenging but also fun enough that you'll actually practice regularly. If learning the guitar seems boring, using flashcards won't be any more enjoyable, so it might be best to choose another method entirely. Once you find a task worth mastering, create your own strategy to master it quickly. Record, review, repeat. If you're just starting out on your chosen path, you'll want to invest in some training resources that can help get you started. You may want an online course or something physical such as books or DVDs. You may even want one-on-one mentoring with someone who is currently successful in that field of personal development. No matter what you choose, if it helps accelerate your learning curve, it will be worth every penny. Once you have mastered a few skills, then it's time to start recording yourself doing them so that you can review them later. This process works especially well for practicing public speaking or performing music. The more you record yourself and review, the better you will get at these things, until they eventually feel like second nature. Soon enough, people won't be able to tell whether you're naturally gifted or not, but they'll certainly recognize your passion for whatever skills they are interested in. Mastering any skill doesn't happen overnight, but with practice and persistence, you can learn how to master anything fast. Get feedback on your performance. People can be your greatest asset, but they can also be your biggest obstacle. To get feedback on your performance, you'll want to find people who are honest and will give you both positive and negative feedback in order for you to improve. Getting feedback helps you understand what areas need improvement as well as highlights your strengths so that you know where to invest your time when mastering a skill. Remember that one of the key elements of personal development is investing time in yourself. Finding ways to improve yourself is part of doing just that. Asking for or accepting feedback on something won't make you look less skilled. Instead, it makes you look like someone who cares about their work enough to make sure it's top-notch. When you master a skill, don't forget to let others know by giving them some feedback too. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more informative content daily. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to ask in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to share. Thanks for watching.